Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to impart techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's webinar is Plan Your Career over a webinar with Anil Sachdev. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Anil Sachdev, founder and CEO, School of Inspired Leadership, and Head, National Committee, HR and Leadership, CII. Anil Sachdev is the founder and CEO of Growth Talent Company Limited and the School of Inspired Leadership, SOIL, which was recently awarded by SHRM as the Game Changer Academic Institute of the Year 2013. Grow Talent was created in July 2000 and became the leader in the strategic HR consulting industry by 2006. It enabled a large number of global and local organizations to achieve breakthrough performance by realizing the potential of their people and creating a talent advantage. In October 2008, Anil and the other co-founders of Growth Talent entered the field of education by creating SOIL, the School of Inspired Leadership. This innovative school has been co-created by a consortium of 32 leading firms such as Aditya Birla Group, Hindustan Unilever, Infosys, etc. In August 2010, a research study of IIM Ahmedabad named it as a game changer in higher education, and in November 2010, the case study on the model of SOIL was named as amongst the top 3 innovations in India Corporation by an eminent jury of the All India Management Association. SOIL, acclaimed for being a game changer and an innovation in higher education, was also featured in an exclusive documentary on ET Now, one of the top business channels of India. Recognized as a thought leader in leadership development and organizational transformation, Anil has done pioneering work with leading global and local firms. He has been adjunct faculty to leading business schools such as Indian School of Business, Kelley School of Business, Indiana University, GMI, Flint, Michigan, Antioch University, Seattle, Ohio University, and University of New Brunswick, Canada. Anil began his career with Tata Motors in 1975 after completing his MBA. He is the founder of Aisha Consultancy Services and was its CEO till 2001. Anil serves on the academic committee of CEDEP, the Leadership Institute of Fontainebleau, and is a member of the Global Compassion Council Charter for Compassion International and chairs the National Committee on Human Resources of CII. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Sachdev.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, friends, and welcome to this adventure in learning together. So basically, this whole attempt of our reaching out to those of you who are interested in this conversation is to basically say that career planning is a subtext to the larger question of life planning. All of us come to this world very specifically because we have come in the human form to express our potential. It is not an accident that we are born, and whatever consciousness that we talk about, or the life-giving force, or God, or whatever that notion of that form of energy out of which life is born, human life is very precious and special. And all beings who are born as human beings have a particular reason to be born. The first part of our life is spent in learning. As children, we are excited by stimulation, where we learn how to perceive. As small children, we observe, we listen to different sounds, we begin to make meaning out of the world, we begin to respond to different stimuli, we begin to relate to people, and all this expression is when we are forming our identity. In forming our identity as we become older, we begin to recognize our likes and dislikes, begin to understand what gives us happiness and joy. As we are taught new subjects inside the classroom and outside the classroom, as we are exposed to new situations and new people, on one hand, our awareness is ever increasing. On the other hand, our emotional experiences are getting enhanced, and we are understanding what relationships are about. At the same time, we are beginning to convert the awareness into some information that we can deal with. And finally, we are making sense out of that information by applying it to our own use so as to become knowledgeable. And as we are acquiring knowledge, we are developing the intellectual part of ourselves, and it becomes a lifelong process. This understanding of how to perceive, this understanding of how to relate to people, and this capacity of how to think. Finally, perception from the world combined with the relationships that we form with others, combined with our capacity to think, all add together into the choices that we make in terms of the action that we perform. So those actions then lead to different reactions and responses from the world, and they further reinforce our own predisposition to react to new situations and develop our character. This whole exercise of defining our identity takes place through the early part of our lives when we are really shaping our own notion of who we are. And so, no matter what we study in school or in college, all of that is about an excuse to know who we are. Whether we study science or we study liberal arts or we study commerce or engineering or chartered accountancy or medicine, essentially we are learning how to solve problems, take care of the opportunities that exist for us, and this is an attempt on our part to leverage that, to seize the opportunities, to solve problems, to find happiness in relationships. And all this conscious attempt is for us to feel a sense of happiness in life. But the real meaning of education, irrespective of what we study, is to really answer critical questions like the real meaning of the word educate or education is to know oneself. And I think all of schooling and education and even the earlier part of our profession is to truly understand ourselves better, which means who am I? What gives me the maximum joy and happiness in terms of what is present both within me and outside me? Based on what gives me happiness and joy, what do I discover about my own strengths? What is the vision that I have for my life in terms of how I see the future of the world and the future of my own family, my own community? And in the future that I imagine, how can I use my own strengths to create the future that I desire? And then finally, how do I develop a discipline of not only dreaming about the future, not only planning for the future, but the discipline of making my future happen? So, we call this conscious attempt of learning the 4D model. In this 4D model, which is a new conversation about ourselves, the first part is discovery. And all of the initial education in life is about discovering ourselves, which is what is it that we have done in our life as we study different subjects, as we meet different people, as we do different projects. What gives us the maximum happiness which lasts for a long time? What makes us give off our very best while working on a science project in school or college, while working on a student project, while working on a celebration in our community like organizing a Durga Puja or a relative wedding in the family? No matter what we do, based on the time when we are doing our joyful best, we are both inside the classroom in education and outside discovering ourselves. What gives us life? Appreciating who we are. And so the real meaning of education is to appreciate our own identity, our own nature, our own talent. And then the next part of our life, when we have given ourselves a good education, is to develop the capacity to dream. And education is not just what we do in the classroom. It is also what we do in terms of the people I choose to hang around with, the friendships that we make, the books that we read, the media that we watch, the technology that exposes us to awareness of the world. That all shapes our worldview. With that worldview, which is the first part of our life and we are forming our worldview, the second part is really earning the right to dream, which is that I have discovered my strengths and my talents. Now I have earned myself the right to dream. What do I do with my talent? Which is the whole notion of what might be. What is the world calling me to do? What is my vision for myself and my world? Which is to say, if all my dreams for the world are that the world should be like that, my family should be like that, my neighborhood should be like that, my country should be like that, the planet should be like that, depends upon how you think, how broadly you think. Then the second part of life is to take the responsibility for our dreams by envisioning a future which truly excites us, so that it becomes a part of our dream. And this is not a dream that we get after we go to sleep, but this is a dream created in the waking hours, which is the vision of the future that drives us. You know, many of us become entrepreneurs, many of us become social workers, many of us become politicians because we have a strong vision about the future that is driving us at a young age to say, I want the world to be like this. That's the second phase of dreaming. But then after we have created this vivid description of the future, which is this powerful dream that keeps us awake at all times, that particular aspect, that power of that dream, then the third part of our life is to design our life around that dream, to say what should be therefore our focus. If we want the world to be like that, if we want our life to be like that, if we have a vision for our own life, what should we focus on? That means, what is that area that we should choose for our work? How do we define goals so that we get more and more focus? And how do we choose that track on which we have to perform to realize our dreams? That means the field we choose to work in, and the particular domain that we should really develop expertise in, and the quality of goals that we define for ourselves. So that is the whole notion of design for our life. And finally, once we are clear on our focus areas, domain areas, the boundaries that we choose, then the last part is to make it happen through delivering. That means, how do we empower ourselves by learning through doing, learning through knowing, and learning through being? Because this combination of knowing, doing, and being is the time of silence, which is the time when we reflect on what we have done after knowing. So we know something, then we do it, and then we learn out of that through silence, and then we make improvements and adjustments and improvisation so that we can sustain the enthusiasm that we have to walk along the designed future that we have chosen. So in positive psychology, we have this very powerful methodology for planning your life and planning your career, which is the first part is invest time in discovering yourself. The second part is spend a significant amount of effort in creating a powerful, vivid description of the future, which is our dream. Then spend time on creating a design with clear focus. And last part is developing that sustained enthusiasm through the discipline of making it happen through a daily practice of learning and empowering ourselves through that learning. So with this kind of introductory context that I have set for this conversation, the question will always arise in our hearts: how should I discover my potential? This is a nice framework. The 4D model is a wonderful presentation by way of a framework, but how should I make it happen, dear sir, is the question you would be asking me. And so, here is a very practical way of doing that. You can do this with yourself, or better still, catch hold of a friend who deeply cares for you and ask that person to interview you. But the way you should interview each other is with childlike curiosity. So let me ask you a question before I describe this. Who are the people in our family who are our favorite people? Just kind of think about that for a minute. In many of our families, we will find that the most favorite people are grandparents. And do you know why grandparents are the most favorite? Because they have the curiosity to learn with children. They have the time that they invest in asking questions from children with childlike enthusiasm. So grandparents become just like children with grandchildren because they have the wonder in their ears and eyes when they ask the question, the children. So what happened? So is that so? That curiosity to learn they have with the childlike innocence. So my request to you is that you interview yourself with the ears of the child, or get a friend to adopt that same childlike enthusiasm, as if whatever is being answered as a result of this question is worth its weight in gold. So ears of the child and mining for the gold. And the questions you ask through this process that we call appreciative inquiry is, when were you at your best and your most joyful best? So this could be any work that you did in the past, or any assignment, or any period of your life. So what actually happened? So who were all the people involved? So what was special about that experience? And then the question to say, what enabled you to give off your best work? What enabled you to have that long-lasting joy? And what does this teach you about the root cause of your success? Some of you may have heard that we adopt a framework in problem solving called 5W and 1H. The Japanese quality experts in good humor refer to this as 5 wives and 1 husband. And the 5 W's are: what happened, when did it happen, where did it happen, who all were involved, what actually was, the whole experience like. So the what, the when, the where, the who, the which. And then finally the question is asked, why did it happen? And why did that happen? And why did that happen? When you ask why 5 times, you can identify the root cause of a problem. Similarly, if something has given you long-lasting joy, you can also understand the root cause of your happiness. And here the whole conversation is about that what is the root cause of your joy that is present inside you? Which means what are the strengths that are making you do your best work, which are giving you joy. For example, if you remember a time in a project when there was a particular customer who was very difficult and you were working on this technology project and you were asked to handle this very demanding customer and you had a new team leader and all of you were working together, and then something magical happened in the team. You were given the responsibility as a project leader, let's say, for this team. And you remember the way you got the whole team together, you got them to think about the problem, you got them to talk to each other and share without any inhibition what the issues were, and the honest conversation that you had, and how you differed in opinion with each other, but how you brought your own conflict out, and how then you listened to each other, and how out of that you discovered new ideas, and how then you found a new approach to handle the customer. And finally you had this great joy of pulling off a turnaround in that assignment. And when you live back that whole experience, you can remember the way you personally help people to come together, how you help them to resolve their conflict, how you got the best out of each person by respecting that person's opinion, and how you discovered that you have this great quality of facilitating teamwork. So that means you have a big strength in that area, and by every time you examine your best work, and when you go systematically into understanding what gives you the joy and what makes your best work happen, you discover inside you strengths which are of a unique kind. You see, your strengths can be broadly of four kinds. One, you may have strengths in doing certain things, in the way you organize your time and the way you do things, in the way you manage resources, the way you take on pressure. You may have strengths in the way you deal with people, the way you engage them, the way you get the best out of them, the way you actually inspire them, motivate them, handle their conflict, handle their moods, handle difficult people, handle difficult conversations. So you may have a lot of strength in that area. Or you may have a lot of strength in the thinking area, which means you have the creative ability, or you have very good analytical ability to analyze problems, or you have the flexibility of the mind to come out with new answers when the existing ones are not working. So you may have a lot of capacities around thinking, or you might have strengths in the areas around simply influencing others, the ability to take risks, for example. Now, all these are your strengths which you may discover when you do this appreciative inquiry dialogue of discovering yourself at your best by a friend asking you questions. And when this whole thing is asked in a childlike innocence to learn. Now, once you have discovered your strengths, the question then arises, what is the narrative of your life or the story of your life the way you say it? You know, a lot of life planning and career planning is about the way you tell the story of your life. So the question is, what is the narrative of your life, the story of your life that you tell to you about yourself when you tell your story? How do you describe the high points of your life and the low points of your life? What do you call a high point? Doing well in class, doing well in sports, helping somebody in need, overcoming a great personal tragedy. What do you call high points? And similarly, what do you call low points? Low points like being called cheating in an exam, or lying to your parents, or losing a near and dear one, or failing in a particular subject in class. What do you call a low point? Depending upon what gives you the joy and true happiness, therefore, when you describe the story of your life as high points and low points, and you also describe what has given you the feeling of sadness, what has given you the feeling of regret, and what has given you the feeling of guilt, all the negative emotions. So then the question happens, The question you ask is, on one hand, you have discovered your strengths through appreciative inquiry. On the other hand, when you write the story of your life and share it, how do you describe your high points and low points, which gives you guidance on what do you truly value. The high points that you talk about describe what your strong values are. It gives you guidance on your values that you care about. Similarly, the low points come when those values are either violated or something is absent or there is pain. That again reminds you of what do you value. For example, if you describe a low point as somebody losing somebody close to you, that means you truly value family and relationship. Or if you describe low point as something which is doing something incorrect, like cheating in an exam, then you realize that your values are ethics, which are very important to you. Or if you feel a low point is when you let down one of your friends after making a promise, you really value relationship. So this is a guidance. And then the question comes to you, you have discovered your strength, you have understood the narrative of your life in terms of what you call high points and low points. And then the question comes, what would you like your story to be in the future? What matters most to you at this stage of your life when you are planning your life and career? What's truly important to you? It's a tough question, but which must be answered. What do you value the most? Do you value power? Do you value recognition? Do you value relationships? Etc., etc. So at this stage of your life, what values most to you? Sometimes getting understanding of your strengths based on your best work and getting a deeper understanding from the story of your life currently and what you would like it to be may not be enough. And so you might have to ask yourself the question, can I get an independent view of my own strengths? Can I get some proper assessment of what my actual strengths are so that I am not being deceived by the story that I tell myself, which is not based on a story of what actually happened, but I may be exaggerating it to a point when what has not happened is also being made to be what has happened. In which case, there is a very powerful tool that the School of Inspired Leadership that we have founded uses, which is something we have also been using in assessing leaders since 2002 in this country, where, for example, we have subjected all the top leaders of Tata Steel through this test. We have exposed a lot of senior leaders of Mahindra Group through this test, and so on and so forth. We have administered this test in over 100 companies in India. So we have a database of more than 10,000 Indians who have taken this test. And of course, there are more than 3 million people who have taken this test globally. So this Caliper test, which is a Princeton-based company, it's a psychometric tool. And by the way, we use this tool also for selection for students into the School of Inspired Leadership. For the one-year MBA program that we run, we don't believe only in GMAT, although we are a GMAT partner school. And we don't believe only in CAT, because those two only measure two strengths, which are analytical ability and verbal ability. Whereas this Caliper test is far superior. It also measures analytical ability and the other abilities, but it goes beyond that to measure also the way you influence people, the way you build relationships, the amount of empathy you have, the way you do problem solving and take decisions, the amount of creativity you have, the way you actually build partnership with others through serving them, and the way you have a structure for planning your work, the way you do the work with a sense of urgency, and the way you follow laid down process and structure. That means, do you have a strength in multiple areas? So a test such as Caliper, and there are a few others which are also used of this kind, helps you to get an independent assessment and audit of your strengths, so that you discover not just what you would like your strengths to be through a make-believe world, but an honest self-assessment through a rigorous testing procedure. So this will also help us to look at the raw material that we have, or the capacity that we have, which is the potential that we have, which we have not yet realized. And so With these three as inputs, that means the appreciative inquiry to discover ourselves at the best and learning from that, the story of my life in terms of the high points and low points and what I would like the future story to be, and an objective assessment of my strengths through an instrument like caliper, I'm now ready to ask the next stage of things that matter to me in discovering, which is, what questions should I ask myself at this stage of my career to identify my purpose? Because unless you define life purpose, you cannot define career goals. Life purpose is always supreme. So ask yourself the question, the four most critical questions. Who am I? Meaning, am I just this limited body and its ability to hear, to see, to feel, to smell, to touch? Or am I just the sum total of all my emotions and feelings? Or am I the sum total of all my thoughts, my analysis, my creativity? Or am I the ego which keeps telling me how good I am? Am I all the fears that come to me and the anxiety that comes to me, the fear of criticism, the fear of failure, the fear of lack of time, the fear of ambiguity? Or am I the witness of my body and its senses and all my perceptions? Am I the witness of my emotional mind? Am I the witness of my thinking process? Am I the witness of my ego? Which means the who am I question is that I am not just my limited body and what it can do. I am not just a limited idea of my current way of relating to people and relationships. I am not just the current boundaries of the thinking that I have today and not my current way of looking at ego, but I can change my physical stamina, my process of observation, listening, and the way I use my senses. I can change the way I relate to people. I can change the way even I think. And I can certainly do something about my fears. That means I have to understand that I am not my current equipment of the body, mind, and intellect, but that who am I question is deeper to say, do I identify only with my body that keeps on changing? Do I identify with the mind that keeps on running like a monkey? Or even the intellect that keeps on having ceaseless thoughts? Or do I understand that there is a power in me which is greater than my body, mind, and intellect, which is the whole conscious, life-giving force that I have within me? Depending upon how you answer the question, you can trap yourself into a limited answer, or you can be free to make a choice in life of being an exceptional leader. So who am I? The second question, why am I here? Which means, what is my real purpose in life? Why have I taken human birth? Is my purpose in life to do something special for my village or my town or my city? Is my purpose in life to become the finest software developer? Is my purpose in life to become the greatest NGO leader or even the political activist? Why am I here? What is my larger purpose? Where do I want to go? How am I defining the vision of my life? Is my vision of life only to become rich and have children and become old and die? Or I am in my 20s now, I imagine the situation when I am 80, what should I be telling my grandchildren on what I should have achieved in my life, which really defines the life of purpose and meaning? I think these are very tough questions at a young age when they must be asked. And I can tell you, when I was in your age, and I was very fortunate that I met an amazing spiritual teacher and master, Swami Chinmayananda, the founder of the Chinmaya mission. My father was a devotee. My father was an army officer who retired from the army. But right through I saw the deep devotion to his guru, and my mother was initiated by Maharaj Savan Singh Ji of Radha Swami Satsang at a young age. So this combination of Radha Swami teachings and Swami Chinmayananda's teachings at a young age inspired many of us to ask new questions to our life. And I asked myself the question, what is the purpose of my life when I was in college? And the answer came that the purpose of my life is to help in India becoming an economic superpower, but we should become a developed country without compromising on values. And so we called it economic development without spiritual impoverishment. So when I was in college, I dreamt that, the first part of my life, I'll do an MBA degree, then I'll work in industry, help in making a company into a role model. Then I will set up a consulting company which will help in transforming the rest of Indian industry. And finally, I will enter the field of education so that I can pass on my knowledge to the next generation. You see, I was fortunate that I had the blessings of my spiritual teacher and the love and affection of my family and parents, and I met some wonderful people. The credit goes to all of them for shaping my thoughts. And my life turned out to be exactly the way the vision had come to me in college. That I actually spent the first part of my life working in industry in Tata's and Eicher, and I reached the board of the company at a very young age. And then we had this wonderful encouragement by the Eicher group to set up a company called Eicher Consultancy that actually transformed the rest of Indian industry. And out of that came then the organization called Grow Talent, and finally the School of Inspired Leadership. So I think you can dream at a young age and you can take responsibility for your dream. So based on all that I have told you, let me transform your thinking based on this one slide that I'm about to present to you, which is based on the story of your life which you are telling yourself about the way your story should be. What is your calling or purpose? What is at the deep inside in your core? What are you dreaming about? To what extent are you today, your personal and professional life aligned to this purpose? How should you make changes in your life so that you start moving towards your dream? What are the competencies that you need to develop if you have to make this happen? What are your strengths that you have discovered through your best work? How can you leverage these strengths to develop this new competencies? What are the specific steps you should take to make this happen? How are you spending your time today in order to learn these things? And of course, even if once you are clear on this, what could go wrong and how do you plan to counter this? And finally, how should I then choose a particular track or career path? Because the career determines the ways we spend 60% of our lives. Because most of us, if we spend time at work which is really rich and meaningful and nourishing, we will return to home very happy. So career is so very important. So in order to define this, once you have asked the larger questions about your life, you need expert help. You must find a good friend and a mentor, a more experienced elder who can mentor you. You then need to develop your own individual learning plan. And you need to be always clear about how that fits into your overall life plan that we talked about. So, in choosing the career anchors, remember as a summary that there are two approaches. One, starting with your own input, which is your strength and capability, and the output, which means what kind of work you truly enjoy doing. So, based on this combination of your own capability and interest, you have to choose therefore the aspiration and goals that are truly the right ones for you. You may, if you feel you connect with people very well, you may be choosing a career in human resources. If you find that you are very good at influencing others and enjoy different ways of communicating, you may choose a career in marketing. If you believe you are very good in organizing resources and getting things done, you may choose something in operations. If you believe you truly enjoy dealing with numbers and raising resources, it could be finance. But if you enjoy innovation and risk-taking and you have the passion, you may enjoy being an entrepreneur. So I think these are all guidance. And the ultimate question is, what should be my short-term and long-term strategy? And you have to really analyze the way you then spend your time in eating, sleeping, and personal habits, socializing, reading TV and all that. And once you analyze the way you spend your life every day, you can then create time by stopping doing things which you should not do and creating time to spend on new things you should do to learn new things which will move you towards your career. So please do a time utilization survey to develop the discipline. And as a first step, once you realize what your purpose is and you deeply care about, you've chosen your learning strategy, you can then choose what should be the sources of this learning and how can you get meaningful information to act on answers to these questions. And so, this is a point, therefore, I introduce you to a new subject because many of the students who have potential students for the School of Inspired Leadership, I believe are also present on this particular webinar. I think higher education of the quality you choose, for example, the one which we do at SOIL, helps you to know yourself better. It helps you to develop your own learning agenda. It should broaden your perspective. It should help you to form networks like we have the 40 of the best companies who work with us through different consortiums. It should provide you with some mentoring and coaching, and it should help you to develop opportunities of a diverse kind. I think this education should certainly strengthen your character. It should not just focus on your IQ like some of the business schools do, but it should also focus on EQ and creativity and the spiritual dimension that SOIL does. And it should be completely focused to helping you to develop a custom-built plan to improve your life, not just your career. And so I think I would end with this particular slide to say the institution you wish to study further, like the one we have in SOIL, we have a curriculum that is really helping you to prepare better for the future in both workplaces and in your life. And therefore, we carefully choose faculty from all over the world who come to teach. And we work very, very close partnership with the industry because everything we do in SOIL is co-designed with industry. And for every student, there is an individual learning plan. We are the only business school, I think, in the world, which for every student has an individual mentor who is a senior leader from industry who spends time once in a month with the student to help him to develop. And we give a lot of focus on developing leadership dimension, not just knowledge. And so I think the quality of peer groups that we attract in SOIL is very unique from that respect. And therefore, I would want to end by saying that if there are any questions you might have about how we are translating all that I talked about into something really practical, I would be very happy to answer because I deliberately gave you a broad picture and perspective and ended with the uniqueness that we have in School of Inspired Leadership of building great leaders, because everything that I have talked about in this webinar today is something built into the way we run SOIL. At this point, I would be very happy to take questions.
Well, thank you so much for the insightful presentation, Mr. Sachdev. We surely have some questions now from the attendees, so I'm just going to read out the questions to you now. So there comes a question from Mr. Deep Singh. He's asking, what is the difference between dream and design? Both look almost same to me.
Okay. The dream is the larger picture of what is that the vivid description of the future that excites you. Design is within that, then choosing the focus. Let me give an example. Let's say I dream that India should become a powerful nation economically, which is a developed nation where people are highly literate, where they have a good standard of living, everybody has high standards of healthcare, infrastructure and all that. That's my dream. But for my focus, which is design, I say within that dream, I am going to choose the field of education to improve the quality of education in India so that the next generation gets the quality of education that makes them world leaders. And within that, I'm going to play, for example, in the area of higher education. And within that, I'm going to get into management education. And within that, I'm going to build a new management school which are focused on inspired leadership. And that is my design statement from the dream statement of India becoming a strong economic power with, which can hold its head high. So I hope you understand the difference between dream and design.
So we have another question from Chandrasekhar Madhabhavi. He's asking, are the courses offered by SOIL full-time course, or is it possible to attend them part-time as well?
The School of Inspired Leadership today runs a full-time one-year course which is co-designed by these 32 companies. It's a full-time one-year course, but for studying part-time at SOIL, you have to be nominated by your companies. We run something called the Emerging Leader Booster course, which is a part-time course where you are nominated by your companies to come to us for 1 week at a stretch, and they send you to us 4 times in a year. So it's a 1-year long executive MBA that we call the Emerging Leaders Program, and that also has classroom education, coaching, and projects. But you need to be nominated by your companies for that. Similarly, there is a program called People Next for outstanding HR leaders, and also for very senior levels, which of course I am assuming those senior people are not part of this conversation. We run something called the Global Leadership Program, which is done in 3 continents, in North America, Europe, and in an emerging market. Again, that is part-time basis, but all are part-time basis. You have to be nominated by your companies to attend our courses, and the companies pay for your education.
A lot of our participants would like to get in touch with you further and would like to meet you in person. So any ways by which they can get in touch with you?
Yes, I think tomorrow itself, is a Saturday, in our campus in Gurgaon, we are having something called at home, which means this is a session where we are inviting potential students who want to check us out. It's called an open day at home, and there are even parents of some students who are coming. There are also people from industry who want to walk in and experience the school. So there's a whole session planned here tomorrow, and I think if you get in touch with us, and my colleague Anurag, which is I think you can give them the Anurag's email ID and phone numbers, and they are very welcome to visit Soil tomorrow. I will also be in campus for some time tomorrow, and if somebody wants a one-on-one meeting with me, that can also be arranged tomorrow. And if tomorrow doesn't work for people, but they want to drop in some other time, then I think they can fix up with Anurag, and we would be very happy to host this conversation in Soil. We regularly do this for a large number of visitors from all walks of life.
So we have our next question from Vinay Kumar. He's asking if we are into some company now and interested in some other fields, how can we continue with it?
You see, if you are in a particular company, and let's say you are in a technical job writing software and development, and your interest is to change your career track into doing something like learning about marketing, for example, then the way to do it is, one, if you don't want to leave your job and get exposure, then you need to be part of some interest group. For example, if you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, then there is an organization called TIE, T-I-E, the Indus Entrepreneurship Network. So they have regular meetings which many of the people come and attend, and that's open to a large number of people. It's an institution that develops entrepreneurs. Now let's say you have a lot of interest in marketing. So similarly, there are most of the higher education institutes, they have some kind of conferences and meets. For example, we ourselves do several conferences in which, if you are an individual who wants to participate, you can register on our website and you will be invited for those. We also keep on having guest lectures from time to time from eminent experts, and if any of you are interested in attending that, you can let Anurag know. So I think if you don't want to leave your job, you can do it. And also these days, there are a lot of free courses available online through organizations like Coursera. These are called MOOC courses, M-O-O-C. And I think a lot of them are available from some of the best institutions in the world. But I would also seriously encourage you to say, why should you not invest in a full-time higher education program by studying further? And invest in yourself so that you broaden your perspective, because if you want to change your career track, you will have to work hard on acquiring a new set of skills, and that there is no shortcut to full-time higher education.
So another question from Vinay Kumar again. How to find our own dream? It keeps on changing for a certain period. How to identify it?
You know, the one which keeps on changing is not necessarily the dream, that is our mind which keeps on changing. I think what we need to do is to, in a systematic way, ask those questions I have been guiding you in this webinar on when was I at my best and what caused me to do my best work, so you discover your strengths. Then ask yourself the questions, what do I deeply care about? Now, I know this question is very broad, but maybe I can help you to go into some other level of detail And so let me do that. So the next level of detail would be 3 questions. So please listen very carefully. Who are the people in my life that matter to me most and why? Could be my family, could be my village, could be my neighborhood, could be my community, could be my country, could be my group of friends. Who are the people who are important to me in my life? Question number 1. Question number 2. What are their needs that I am inspired to serve? For example, my parents have this need to prepare for their old age and they don't have enough financial means to prepare for the old age themselves. So I have to generate some capital and resources so that my parents have a comfortable old age and I have a way to express my gratitude to my parents, for example. So what are the needs of the people that I care about that I am inspired to serve? And third question is, how can I use my own strengths to serve those needs? For example, I have this very good strength of dealing with people and in doing problem solving. How can I deal with people and do problem solving so that I can use my strengths to build a life of generating material success that can create security for my parents? Or you might say that my dream is to work for the upliftment of poor children in the slums in my city. I'm very moved by that cause. And in addition to my family well-being, I want to work for the well-being of these poor children. And then you might ask yourself the question, if these are the people who matter to you, these poor children, and their needs to be educated matters to you, how can you use your strengths, which may be on organizing people, of raising resources, to create awareness about this problem, of networking with other voluntary agencies, and actually generating funding to help that? That's how you can make that your dream. So once you answer these 3 questions, who are the people, what are their needs, and how can you serve them using your strengths? So the who, the what, and the how. Then you have formed the first template for your own dream. So that is really the dream that will be a long-term sustainable dream. It's not just a short-time dream. It's like our Guruji, Swami Chinmayananda, used to say, and there's a thought for the day in the calendar for 4th April that is in front of me. It says, give, sign of exclamation, give. The greatest joy in life is in giving, in loving, and in sacrificing. The greatest joy in life is in giving, in loving, and in sacrificing. And so, if you make a dream which is of this quality, which is of life of giving, you will be very happy in life. You will also create happiness all around you. So ask yourself the question, what is that dream that will be sustainable because it will make the world better? And you know, if your dream is so powerful that you feel it is too embarrassing, it sounds too good, well, then you are on the right track, because dreams are the ones which give us the strength to improve our life. And they are always present like the North Star. They are not the ones which change every day, because the ones which change every day are just the fluctuations of the mind. But dream is something which gives the strength to the mind, not makes the mind up and down, go up and down. So I would say that if you have not yet identified a dream, ask yourself the tougher questions of what matters to you. And in the end, you will be given the answers by the goodness inside your own self.
So the next question comes from Anil Sachdev. He is saying, I am an engineer and currently working in the IT sector. How soil would help me in my career? Is soil offering any opportunities to various organizations after completion of the course?
Yes, so we are co-created by 32 companies, and there are nearly 100 companies who come to recruit out of soil. Besides, I mean, some of them are the same 32 companies, but there are many other companies that come to recruit. Out of the 100 that have recruited over the years, these are all the best companies in India who come to recruit. So soil not only gives you the 1 year of education, but it promises you transformational learning, and then it creates wonderful opportunities with these companies. But it's up to you whether you can take advantage of those opportunities and able to present yourself in the manner that gives you the best job. So people come to soil not because they guarantee some fantastic placement, but people come to soil because they are truly inspired by getting transformational learning. And of course, they find so many good companies associated with soil. So if they take the learning here seriously, and if they have a powerful dream that they have of their own, then they get hold of many good opportunities here, and many of them get wonderful jobs. So I think it really depends on the mindset with which people come here, and I think the whole ecosystem is designed to help you to know yourself better, to transform yourself through a better dream for your life, and then put you in touch with the right people so that you can work with them. See, right through the year in soil, each student is provided a mentor. This mentor is both an internal mentor amongst our faculty and staff, and there's an external mentor who is a senior leader from industry. Now the MD of Indus Towers, Shanta Raju, is a mentor. The former MD of American Express, Sanjay Gupta, is a mentor. The MD of Aisher is a mentor. So there are so many wonderful senior people who are mentoring our people. And these people are giving their time freely every month to sit with our students several hours a month to help them to learn and to develop. So I think this is a unique opportunity that our school provides, and I think it really enriches the learning of students.
So the next question comes from Prithvi Nandan Reddy. Prithvi says, I feel I was stuck in a particular career which I chose without my liking, but now I am confused whether to stay in it or switch my career. My worry is, as a fresher, openings are very less in that field, which is my passion. What should I do?
You know, you are absolutely the right candidate for changing your career track through higher education without predetermining what the next career should be. I think you should come, do your investment in a good higher education course like the one that we offer in soil or in any other high quality management school, and then get exposed to a variety of different career tracks, a variety of people, variety of companies, and take that year to invest in yourself and then ask yourself the question, what should you carefully do next? Even though you may have to start at the bottom of the new career track rather than leveraging on where you may have already worked, but it is, you know, I am assuming you are still in your 20s, and it is never too late to change now rather than regret the choice when you are 40, because that will become even more difficult at that stage. So I think this is a time to invest in high quality education, increase your perspective, increase your opportunities, and then make up your mind.
A lot of outstation candidates want to visit soil. So Surendra Yarnal from Pune, he is asking, is there any event of soil scheduled in Pune in near future?
So we have bought land in Pune for our residential campus. So the Pune campus, the land we have bought is in a place called Kolvan. Kolvan is near Paud village, which is about half an hour from Chandani Chowk in Pune, and it's towards Mulshi Dam. So we have currently applied to the collector of Pune for converting the agricultural land to institutional use. We hope to get approval in the next few months, and later this year we will start working on it. But some of us keep visiting Pune because we have clients there. I personally serve on the board of Deepak Fertilizers in Pune. I'm a member of their board of directors, so which means every few months I come to Deepak Fertilizers. And you know, for his information, I was actually born in Pune, in Khadki, and that's my hometown actually, so I keep coming there. Also, we have lots of friends in Pune, and we do keep holding different forums in Pune from time to time. So he should be in touch with us, and whenever we have the next opportunity of some kind of an event in Pune, we will keep him posted so that we can do something. Also, one of our other you know, senior leaders, Kanupriya Sekhri, she belongs to Pune. Her parents live there, and Kanupriya was educated in Pune and raised there. So she also keeps coming to Pune. And so I think we will let you know as to how to contact us in Pune itself. Of course, 2 years from now, hopefully we will have a physical presence in Pune. But till such time that we will have these events, you are very welcome to stay in touch.
Another question from Anil Prusti again. He is interested in similar events in Bangalore as well. So any events coming up in Bangalore?
Yes. We also have from time to time events in Bangalore. I think we had this plan a career workshop also physically in Bangalore. I think also we keep doing interviews for admissions in different cities. So in fact, like tomorrow we have something in Hyderabad, and I think we are also having tomorrow in Mumbai, Bangalore. So there are these interviews going on for admission because our course will start end of this month and people can join up to middle of May. So currently we are looking at all the applications and putting them through this very wonderful process that we call talent appreciation. I mean, even if people are not seriously interested in higher education right now, those who wish to really discover themselves and want to explore admission opportunities in soil, I urge them to apply today because that will make them go through our whole process of discovery, the caliper tool, the talent appreciation process, and that itself will teach the students a lot about their own strengths and their future plans. And so, in fact, that investment that each student makes of spending that time and the small amount of 2,000 rupees actually gives them a world-class instrument that costs us a lot more than what students pay for. So I think this is something that I would urge those to do who want to discover themselves, because it will give them very rich insights about who they are.
Pankaj Doot is asking, many a times we get confused for selecting a career path. We think I can do this. So what can be done to overcome this?
You know, and I realize that we are crossing the time of this webinar, but I'll take this question and I'll say that the confusion comes because we do not spend enough time with ourselves in introspection. We don't really ask ourselves some tough questions about that. And we do not take the time to discuss it with a mentor whom we can trust and who has the right experience to mentor us and guide us. So if we take the time to ask these questions of the kind we have discussed in this webinar, and if we take the time to spend with a mentor of our choice whom we really trust, I think some of this confusion will become lesser, but ultimately the best answer will come from within you, because the real guru is present inside you. You know, even the acronym for guru is G, U, R, U. So my friend G, you are you. The answer is within you. Only thing is you have to prepare the mind for having that conversation. You have to first silence your mind, quieten down, reach that stage of relaxation. In a very methodical way, ask the questions. We have given you guidance in this presentation, and I can promise you that your confusion will become lesser. And what remains can be overcome by having a good conversation with a mentor.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Sachdev, for answering all the questions of our attendees. I'm sure they'll surely get insights into their queries. I also thank you for the insightful presentation as well. I would also like to thank our attendees for attending this session and making it a success. I would like you all to know that the recording of this session would be available on techgig.com by tomorrow, and you can get in touch with Mr. Anurag Kanungo for further queries. Thank you so much for attending the session. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.